Like cherry blossoms that have yet to bloom, this is the OSMcast. Hello, and welcome back to the OSMcast, your podcast for everything awesome. I'm Basil, and with me are two people who are not technically OSMcast folks, but are still amazing and awesome in their own right. First, we have Jess. Please introduce yourself, Jess.
Hi, I'm Jess Merriman. I am with Momocon, Animation Gaming and Comic Convention, usually held annually in May. Due to our fun times and COVID situation, it is canceled for the 2020 year, but that doesn't mean we don't have some fun stuff. We've got rebroadcast and some new panels on our Twitch feed from now until May, and we're working on some digital programming in May as well, including A&B contests, cosplay offerings, video game stuff, and charity component that we're working on right now. We hope to see everybody out at the show in 2021 when the world is a little bit less on fire and everybody can celebrate their love of animation, games, and comics.
Nice. And we also have Corey. What's up, Corey?
Hello, Basil. My name is Corey. You already said that. I don't know why I'm repeating that. I run a couple podcasts. One of them is called the Taiiku podcast, which is where I talk about sports, anime, and manga. And the other one is called Manga in Years, where I talk with my friends Helen and April about one older manga and one newer manga every 2 weeks. And I also write about stuff on the fandom post, which I rarely do and forget to mention a lot. But thank you for having me on.
No problem. You've had me on a few sports podcasts, so it felt right to finally get you back on my show for, again, sports podcast. So yeah, hopefully everyone's still, staying in, washing hands, keeping healthy as possible. It's definitely a weird and wild world out there.
Indeedy.
I washed my hands before I did this.
Good job. I'm proud of you. That's not even a joke. Like, good job. Like, people should wash their hands more often and wash their thumbs. Wash your thumbs, folks.
It's amazing how many people don't wash the back of their hands.
It's true. It's true. It's one of those things where, gosh, I was listening to We Have Concerns, which is a science comedy podcast, and one of the things was about washing hands, and they mentioned thumbs, and I started paying more attention to washing my hands and went, oh god, I really ignored my thumbs. No, that's no good. Oh gosh.
Have I never washed my thumbs in my life?
Right. Did I wash the back of my hands? Oh, just actually think like, oh, I need to actually think about washing my hands really made me go, oh god, am I doing it wrong this whole time? So I was ready for this, at least as far as the washing hands part. I was not really ready for anything else. That's what's going on in the world. But that's fine. We're here recording awesome things like our moments of awesome, which is usually when Kevin would go, it's a moment of awesome. But Kevin's not on this podcast, so oh well. I am going to talk about Samurai Cat. You may have heard of this because I kind of wonder if Disney ripped this off for The Mandalorian. It is, I found this on Amazon Prime. It's also known as Neko Samurai. It came out in like 2013, 2014, where it takes place in the olden days of Japan. I mean, pretty sure it's live action, J-drama, as it were. And it's about this Ronin, this lone samurai who's out of work and really needs a gig, and he's very good at the blade, but terrible at everything else in life, including money. And he gets this job to take out this demon, only the demon is actually a really cute cat. So instead of killing the cat, he steals the cat for his own, and now he has to, lay low, and hijinks ensues of him having to not reveal the fact that he owns this cat, but B, he now owns this cat. He doesn't know has any clue at all how to actually take care of a cat. And it is super cute. It's pretty darn funny. And I think it's really the cat-based content everyone should have gotten into that wasn't Tiger King.
I saw this in your email, and it just like Samurai Cat because like it's called Samurai Cat, but I added pizza in my brain, so that's what I thought you were going to talk about. And once you said live action, I'm like, oh, this isn't Samurai Pizza Cats. I don't know what this is at all.
No, it's not like, but it's still good. Like I'm down with Samurai Pizza Cats. Don't get me wrong, but no, this is an entirely different samurai with a cat that does not involve pizza. It actually involves donuts. Because
like
there's
real donuts or like Brock from Pokemon donuts that aren't really donuts.
like actual donuts. Like there's a lady in the show, and her big thing is that she's making quote Western style donuts, except they're like donut sticks, and he's like that. It's tasty, but no one wants to buy sticks, and so she makes them look like little cats, and people want to buy the cats.
I mean, I would buy cat donuts. That's fair.
So yeah, no, it's super cute. It's super fun. It is in no way serious. The guy who plays the samurai, he makes really, really good dumb faces, which I always appreciate in everything. And there's a lot of times where they're like, he's also born with a naturally scary face. He's got resting angry man face. So people think he's actually a much bigger badass than he is, even though he is a badass. He's actually very good with the sword. That's the only thing he cares about. Even more so than his wife and daughter. But now he also has this cat. And now he's really found the true meaning of family, even though he has a family.
I was going to say, so he abandoned his family for a cat?
Not for the cat. He abandoned them. Well, he didn't. It's one of those things where he went out to go find work and then send money home to find someone to be a master to attach himself to as a samurai. But no one wants him around because he always looks so angry. But now he also has this cat, and so his angry face is very much like the Mandalorian helmet, and the cat's pretty much Baby Yoda, only it's a cat, so it's still super cute, and it works out. It's really fun. I highly recommend Samurai Cat. So next on my list as I go down my thing of people with recording things, Jess, what's a good, awesome thing to talk about?
Well, I don't know. See, you talk about Samurai Cat, and you made me think about obscure, random Japanese live-action television shows available for people to watch in the U.S. on streaming networks. And, of course, that makes me think about Midnight Diner, which is my favorite strange, obscure, live-action, slice-of-life Japanese show. It's very, very soothing. I feel like it's meditation in a television show. And it's hard to describe. It's about this guy... and I've seen both seasons that are released in the U.S. There's more in Japan that I want to get because it's amazing. He runs a diner that's only open from midnight to 7 a.m. and he has like regular patrons, like taxi drivers and call girls and all kinds of different types of people. Sometimes business owners after they close their shop, other restaurateurs. And every episode, he will make you. He has a standard menu, but he will make you whatever you want as long as you bring him the ingredients. So it's about everybody's favorite food, and everybody has a backstory. And sometimes it's regulars, and sometimes it's one-offs, and every episode is about a different person, and you never really learn a whole lot about him. He's just like, you know, the master, if you will, in Japanese parlance. And it's very soothing. But you talk about Samurai Cat, and it made me think about that. And it's just not really a guilty pleasure, but a Japanese live-action pleasure that I very much enjoy.
Where did you find it?
Netflix. 2 seasons
Cool.
are on Netflix.
Yeah, I saw that on Netflix, and I was like adding a bunch of random food things to my queue, and I'm like, oh, this sounds interesting. But I haven't gotten around to it yet. Good to know it's good.
It is very good. I will say, I think there's one called Samurai Gourmet that I thought was going to be very similar in that slice of lifey kind of thing, and it's cute, but it's not even close to as good as Midnight Diner.
Oh, dang. I like Samurai Gourmet. I did watch that one.
Then you will absolutely love Midnight Diner.
Yeah, that really reminds me of the anime Bartender, which was like an Imagawa joint about, you know, how all life's problems can be solved with the right kind of alcohol.
Well, I mean, yeah. As Homer Simpson says, the cause of and solution to all of life's problems.
Well, what was amazing about Bartender was they would come in with a problem, and they'd be like, oh, it sounds like you need this kind of martini or this kind of mixed drink. And they would go, oh, right. The way I drank this makes me think of things. That's the exact solution to my problem. And he was like, yes, it was. I am the bartender. It was great. So, Corey, what you got?
Sure. I completely forgot about this segment, and I was like, oh, I should think of something. And then, I just didn't think of anything. Thankfully, I had been reading a book just before we started recording. A book, like with, words and no pictures and junk. And that is called, Ballpark by Paul Goldberger. I don't know about you, Basil, and I don't know, you at all until today, Jess, but, I've been missing sports a lot, and, I just wanted to, like, get something sport-y into my brain. So, along with the 30 for 30s on ESPN Plus, I've been getting back to this book that I've been reading called Ballpark by Paul Goldberger. It starts, in the 1850s, 1880s, whenever baseball started. And just talks about, like, the architecture of baseball parks and how integrated baseball parks were into the cityscape at that time, like, because they had to be accessible by either public transit or by, foot traffic. And then just how much of a departure they went away from that by the time, now comes along. Like, there are some stadiums that, nowadays that still have good access to public transit. Camden Yards, where Otakon was, and also Nationals Park, where Otakon is, are two stadiums that have pretty good access to public transit. But then other places, like Atlanta Stadium, is not that great at all, and it was kind of nimbied out of public access, or public transit. The book is super interesting, and I love the idea of ballparks as a part of an entire society, that the society builds around, like Wrigley Field, or the Wrigleyville was built around Wrigley Field, and now it's named after Wrigley Field. But yeah, I love ballparks. I love going to ballparks. I miss going to ballparks. But 2021, I'll be there.
Nice. You're right. The Atlanta one, I'm in Atlanta. Definitely it was interesting when they moved it out to our suburbs. Certainly didn't gain a lot of good feeling from a lot of the people here, baseball fans. The new stadium looks nice, though. I've been there.
Yeah, from what I was describing about the new stadium, it sounded like it was super nice. They built a whole mini community around that baseball field because they just wanted this mini community around the baseball field. And, like, I love the idea of that, but I don't like the idea of it being manufactured. The way
it feels very manufactured, too. And there was a lot of local politics involved that everybody was pissed off about in the construction of it, paying for it, things like that. Which counter to that, we also recently have the Mercedes-Benz Stadium that was built, which had almost polar opposite feeling from the community because, well, not completely. There was some pushback on different pieces of it, but people certainly are significantly more receptive to it, and it has gotten a much better response than the SunTrust Stadium.
Well, Southerners love their football much more than their baseball, I'm sure.
Well, there's a lot more money put into it too, and they have cooler things. I don't know. It's a really nice facility too. I've been to both of them.
And one of these days, I'll get to check out Toyota Field, which is our local, minor league Trash Pandas stadium. That was going to be a thing, and right now it's not a thing, except that they're live streaming them playing MLB The Show because they're in it.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to the Trash Pandas existing because that is just a great name. A great, great name. I don't know how you could not like that name.
Well, I mean, I certainly voted for it both times, and I own, it's my go-to hat now, so I do. But of course, they also threw the stadium where nothing around it, so it's honestly fine where it is, and, well, I don't live in the city that had to pay for it, so I'm good.
Yeah, that's the rub for a lot of those cities.
Yeah, but then again, growing up, my dad's from Indianapolis, and so his sister's family, they were all really big into Bulls, Bears, and Cubs. And for whatever reason in my life, the Cubs are what stuck, which is really weird now that the Cubs are good. I'm not used to that. but I would read all sorts of Cubs-related books growing up, and all things about Wrigley Field and stuff. And I found the whole culture of, Wrigleyville, like, that really, fascinating. So I may actually have to pick this book up.
Yeah. Pick it up from your indie booksellers.
Although, speaking of things that we can pick up cards, all sorts of cards, as long as we actively, get the cards correctly while playing Karata in the show we're talking about, Chihayafuru. And we're back. So, this is, 2020's wild. Sure, it is. But between the time in 2014 when we first podcast about Chihayafuru, which had Ink playing the role of Corey, things have sure changed. Sentai actually released the first 2 seasons on Blu-ray.
Pre-ordered that as soon as it came.
I lucked out where I couldn't afford it at the time, but I was able to catch the special editions right before they went away. Kodansha has now gotten at least, 19 volumes digitally out?
Praise be Kodansha.
Like, that I was not expecting at all, ever seeing the manga. In fact, right now, as of this recording, they're doing their, hey, buy some digital manga thing where the first volume of lots of stuff Kodansha has digitally is 99 cents. And so I picked up the first volume digitally to prepare for this podcast. I say prepare, but I've already now just bought volume 2 and was reading it before we started recording. So
I really need them to come out with physical copies. I'm definitely a physical manga person.
I am too, but knowing that there's, I believe, 44 volumes of the manga.
Oh, God.
I'll buy them all. I don't care. I don't care. I want it. I need it.
I would also buy it all, but like every time someone says a manga is over 40 volumes and I'm not expecting it, which is literally every time, I'm just like, oh god, like so many volumes.
Yeah, it's a lot. So Chihayafuru is a thing that we really, really enjoyed. I mean, we still really enjoy it, clearly. We're podcasting about it right now, but it was this thing that came out, a few years ago, and we got 2 seasons of it, and it was very good, and it was still streaming on Crunchyroll. I highly recommend you watch that before you, finish listening to this show, because it's very good, and the short shrift of it is, it's about the sport it's about Karata, or competitive Karata, which is based off 100 poems that are very classic, traditional, from many, many, many years ago in Japan's history, where they would have various lords and ladies and stuff, all sorts of crazy topics about love and spring and cherry blossoms blooming and whatnot, and they turn it into this game called Karata, where people will read the first chunk of a thing, and then you'd have to find the corresponding poem and be able to obtain it by touching it on its side before the person against you is trying to touch another side, and whoever is able to obtain most of these cards wins.
Okay,
and
I have a request to make before you continue.
Sure.
Because I always wanted to do this, and I prepared by having it in front of me so that I could do this on your podcast. Nani wazu ni sakuyo kana hana. Fuyu gomori ima o harube to sakuya kono hana. I'm sorry. I'm a big Chihayafuru nerd, and I really just...
Oh, no, that's excellent. I'm not saying that I made sure to buy my Hobonichi Techo this go-around from their Japanese site, because I'm now looking at a set of Karata cards that I can never actively use because I don't know Japanese. I don't know Japanese. But I have a set of Karata cards now. I could play if I knew what I was doing.
To give some context for people listening who have never seen this show, at the beginning of each match of Karata, they say a specific set of a two-line phrase. They like to start off the thing, and so you hear it a lot in the show.
It's true, and it's very. But man, the way that they do it still always reminds me of Eastern Orthodox chanting. Whenever they would read things, that's the same sort of tone and styling musically of how they would read stuff. And so, even for me, like, this show is unnaturally nostalgic, like, because it shouldn't be, but it is. And so whenever they start a match, like those opening lines, they get me every time.
It's an interesting association.
And so the gist is we have our main character, Chihaya Ayase. She is friends with two guys who are childhood friends, Taichi Mashima and Arata Wataya. And Arata was a new person to them and their youth who got her into the game of competitive karate. And Taichi was like the smart, popular bully, persona as a kid, where both Arata and Taichi clearly had, young boy crushes on Chihaya. And they all end up getting, Arata was already into karate, but it eventually gets Chihaya and Taichi really into karate. And so that's the beginning of the original season of the anime, and then it quickly transitions to high school, where Chihaya and Taichi have once again met up. They form a karate club, and they start seriously, they get club members, and they start really getting into the sport of karate. And it's all about, feelings of growing up, being competitive in this sport, being, very exuberant, youthful teens, really experiencing the, youth and satiating feelings, and it's good stuff.
I think you're underselling Chihaya. Chihaya is, they call her a Bijin Muda, like a ruin, or Muda Bijin, ruined beauty, because she's real pretty and her sister is a model, but she is super duper intense focused on karate. Nothing else matters. And she is super weird about it too, and it's incredibly entertaining.
It's true. While this is a josei manga, she would also fit very well as any shonen protagonist with her.
Yeah, she's absolutely going to be the Hokage of karate. Believe it.
Yeah, she's going to win that Christmas bowl.
I think they just call it the Queen in the show.
They do.
Okay.
They do. And I mean, and in the second season, I think second season, where that's where she meets the existing queen, and they actually form sort of their friendship rivalry. Friendship, rivalry in karate, but friendship that they both like these weird children brands of things that they're also really into.
Hey, I can't knock anybody for being into weird Japanese characters. I went to Japan for the first time, and I discovered Rascal the Raccoon, whose product is everywhere, and I love him now, and I have a whole shrine to him in my house, and I can't lie, I really relate to Chihaya and Shinobu on that level, because, yeah, it's a thing.
So, I guess it's the part where I should also point out, of course, it is an anime. They've done 3 seasons of it, with our, ostensibly this is about the 3rd season, but clearly we're also talking about the first 2 seasons, because it's, again, one continuous story based off the manga by Yuki Tsue Tetsugu. Again, 43 volumes. It wasn't 44. It was 43 volumes published in Kodansha in the magazine Be-Love. But Kodansha is also putting it out digitally now. And then the anime was done by Studio Madhouse, directed by Morio Asaka, who has done things like All the Card Captor Sakura. He also directed Chobits, Nana, and he was an assistant director for Yawara, a fashionable judo girl. And any excuse for me to mention Yawara, I will take that. The music was by Kosuke Yamashita, who also did all the anime adaptation of Hanayori Dango, which is really cool. And a lot of Sentai, apparently, like Kamen Rider Game and Maho Sentai Magi Ranger and Kaizaku Sentai Gokaiger.
Magi Ranger was a good series. I used to be into Sentai.
Yeah, so that was like, Hanayori Dango. Okay, boys, all right. I really like that manga. I'm sure the anime was good. And then, and Chihayafuru, and the music in this is real good. And I also looked at, I sort of dug a little bit into the Anime News Network and stuff for all the assistant directors and animation directors. And a lot of them, some of them would switched spots on what they were focused on, but a lot of them carried on from like seasons 1, 2, and including 3.
That's impressive, because there was a pretty big gap between season 2 and 3.
Yeah, like, I think there was one person that they did seasons 1 and 2, and they started doing season 3, then I guess they handed off to somebody else, but like, it clearly is the vast majority of folks who worked on the first 2 also worked on 3, and I thought that was a really neat, through line of, no, they love this manga, this show, and they kept doing it. I really kind of wonder if this season was just more of a labor of love just to keep it going. Which,
hey, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I was finding out that we were getting a Chihayafuru season 3 was the highlight of my year. Okay. Basil will attest that I definitely screamed over chat immediately when this news came out. And there's only one unexpected new thing in the last couple of years that has surpassed it in my anime world, and that was, I never thought in a million years we would get another season of Full Metal Panic, but we did. And I don't even know why that was possible, but we did. And I'm grateful for every second of it.
Which, I mean, but for Full Metal Panic, like, I think, like, every time they've done another season of that, it's been in someone else's hands, like, every time.
Oh, yeah, and that's why they're super inconsistent, too.
Like, the first season of that was, like, Gonzo, but then Kyoto Animation, I think, did Second Raid and Fumofu.
Yeah, the KyoAni ones are the best ones.
And then, like, a random third group, I don't think they're random, but I just don't know who they are, worked on the third one. So it was like, oh, okay, this is so weird. But yeah, no, Chihayafuru, it's kept the same core group more or less the entire way through. And I thought that was super cool. Even in making sure to have good old 99 radio service to do the opening songs again, which is chef's kiss. Like, I cannot think of Chihayafuru without them doing the opening. Like, if they hadn't done the opening for this one, I think I would have rioted.
Yeah, 99 radio service. Every song, every opening that I've heard, every song that I've heard from them that is not Chihayafuru related is just super good, super catchy. Well, maybe not catchy because I do not know Japanese and thus cannot memorize the lyrics as easily, but very upbeat, very toe-tapping is what I mean.
I am not going to lie. When I knew there was new Chihayafuru coming out, whenever I would see if I'd see something new from 99 radio service on Spotify, I'd always listen to it, really enjoy it, go, I wonder if you're going to be the opening music. I wonder. And the one we got...
I get so excited when I watch new Chihaya episodes that I absolutely never listen to the opening, because I am far too excited to get into the episode. I'm a bad fan. I have basically never heard the opening, except for the first couple of bars, because I always skip it really fast.
See, I'm actually the opposite. I've enjoyed it so much. It's one of the few times I don't skip the opening. Up until the last few episodes, then I was like, no, I gotta know what's going on. I gotta see. And, the way they ended this stupid season makes,
I mean, how they ended season 2 as well.
Like, even in season 2, I was just like, I need more, but I'm like, I guess I was, at that point, I was content. I'm like, you know what? I got a season 2. I kind of wasn't expecting to get it, so I'm fine with this. But for season 3 now, it's like, I need 4. I need season 4. Please, thank you.
They can't do this to us. They cannot leave it like this. I just...
So yeah, let's go ahead and run through our cast. And I was trying to only get the high points, and then I realized, man, we're into 3 seasons of this show. The cast for this has grown pretty well. And I was kind of thinking when I was watching, man, they've really, drilled down to the core of what's really important and not too much extraneous stuff. But no, it's just that the cast is big because it's season 3 of a show.
I think they've developed really well. My favorite character is... I have my favorites, but I think Oe is probably my favorite developed character overall. For those unfamiliar with the show, she's one of the people who is in the karate club at school with Chihaya and Taiiku, and her mother sells authentic kimono and sells the kimono that they wear. But she wants to be a part of the karate team, not because she's competitive like Chihaya or Taiiku, but almost completely the opposite. She loves the poems, and she loves the evocation that she gets when they're spoken. She appreciates the readers a whole lot, and she gives you a lot of insight on like the differences in inflection and who's a good reader and who's a bad reader. And her perspective adds a lot to the show that I think a lot of other people don't, and she's very developed as a character as well.
I think she's also central to Chihaya growing as a character herself.
Yeah, she's definitely a voice of logic for Chihaya in certain ways, although she is a very romantic type person in, I guess, the classical sense, not necessarily just straight up romance, but like romanticizing things. She is a good voice for Chihaya, but she's not as, in my opinion, she's not quite as blunt as what Chihaya would need. Chihaya's a little thick.
I mean, yeah, but I also do think like Chihaya, like she's so laser focused on the competitive part of Karata that OA is really there to be like, yo, these other parts of this game are important too. And that's also usually the things of that sort of clues her in on, you're right, I do need to think of this differently, which is actually what ups her game in playing Karata.
Yeah, helps her game set.
Yeah, I love the moments when OA goes into explanations about the poems, which, like, of course I know nothing about. I don't know why that's of course. I have not done any research on it, but I did actually ask Ink what his favorite translations of the books are, because I do want to read those poems at least at length, but as far as the context of the show, we don't really learn about what the poems mean, but each of these poems have a much deeper meaning that OA goes into. And in particular, the main poem, the Chihaya poem, she says, I always view this as a deep red card, because it's a fall poem. It's talking about leaves falling into the river.
Yeah, I definitely remember. I own at least one set of translations on my Kindle for the poems, and I definitely read them all for the first time we podcasted, but I did not for this one. But it's also kind of crazy on how well this show communicates what's exciting, what is interesting about Karata, and you still get super invested, even if you actually have no clue on how the game really works. It doesn't matter. Just the way they will zoom in on the speaker's like lips as they're about to say a phrase, and they cut immediately to Chihaya or someone else, immediately going for the cards. And I have to really kind of wonder on how much more exciting they make this look than watching it, an actual match, but I don't know.
It seems super dull to watch it. I mean, to watch an actual match. All of a sudden somebody starts speaking Japanese and whack, 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 whack across the floor. I have to imagine people when they play this are not as violent as Chihaya is when she's slapping the cards, too. Throwing her whole body across the other thing.
Yeah, I've watched about 3 minutes of real IRL Karata, and I didn't see any barrel rolls in those 3 minutes, but they did seem to slap pretty quickly, and it made an audible noise. I don't think they're all like the Queen in that way.
So at our core 3 people, sort of make the triangle of romance that never actually happens. Of course, again, we have our main character, Chihaya. And then you also have Taichi and Arata, which they have now grown up. Arata now lives in the Fukui prefecture, which is further away from Tokyo. They definitely have their own dialect that's unique to that area. And so he has been playing Karata alone and has only really seen Chihaya and Taichi in like matches and things. But, his feelings for them, especially are still very, very strong, whereas Taichi is the president of the Karata club that he and Chihaya form, and he has his own sets of issue because his mom is overbearing and really thinks Karata is dumb and thinks he shouldn't be bothering with this because he should be off doing, important things like, being a doctor, because his grandfather runs the hospital. His father is a very prestigious doctor. Therefore, he should be as well. Why is he bothering with this dumb game that will go nowhere? Which is interesting with this is because Karata really, it is a game that you can be the best in the world, but it's only because it's played in Japan, which is cool, but it's not like, and, it gets shown and it's televised and things, but it's like, it's a game that you play because you love it, not because it will do anything for you.
Yeah, even in this show, one of the very, very minor storylines in the last season is the Master Match, which is the top male match in the world, which is obviously in Japan, is no longer broadcast on the Japanese equivalent of ESPN 8, the Ocho. It's only online. It's only on stream. I think it's on Nico Nico on the show. And it's kind of disappointing because at least one person's, like, grandmother in the show who's watching it doesn't know where to see it because it's online, and she doesn't know that it's not on TV, and she's, like, surfing the channels for it.
And I think this is one of those things that sort of is brought up in this season where there's lots of things that were talk about how people have, because, the first couple of seasons really focus on more of the high school level, where this season very much focuses much more on the quote unquote pro, or I guess adult level, even though anyone can play this game, and about all these various characters, these adults who still play Karata because they love the game, but about how they had to do other things besides playing Karata. Like it very much feels much more like a hobby kind of sport versus like a pure sport, as it were, even though it is, it's just as physically and mentally active as any other sport. But the way that they all sort of played, it's almost like it's like a show about like pickup basketball that was, somewhat organized.
I think that's a good analogy. So there's not a lot of older people that you encounter, and like anybody really over 30 in the show, there's very, very, very few that are still playing Karata, which leads me to saying that Harada Sensei is the best character in the entire show, and he is the oldest active competitive Karata player that you encounter during the current timeline, I should say. Because Arata's grandfather was a grandmaster, and his flashback episodes, he's definitely older than the Doctor. But Dr. Harada is absolutely intense in all the best ways. And you would think, from the beginning of the show, because he's introduced as kind of a teacher and kind of a comic relief to a degree, because he's super intense. However, he had a incredible hardcore arc in the third season that was absolutely the highlight of the entire season for me. I rooted for him every second of the way, too. Like, my god.
It does not hurt that he looks like an Naoki Urasawa character design, and that has helped me. Also, totally ignore the fact that I am now 40, and so, man, whenever older folks are being awesome at things that I would enjoy being awesome at, does really give me hope for the future.
Yeah, I say Harada's, I think he's in his late 50s in the show, so
yeah, I think he's like 58 or something. Yeah, he's definitely in the late 50s.
Yeah, he needs to take better care of his knees, though.
Well, it's too much kneeling playing Karata.
That is true, and it is a really intense thing, because when they play in a tournament, it's all day. In the first season, it's established that Chihaya just falls on the ground and dies basically after a match, and then has to shove chocolate into her face in order to get the calories to continue going. In the off season, at one point, I think in the first season, she joins the track team to keep her stamina up for freaking Karata. She does not give two shits about the track team, but she really wants to keep her stamina up for Karata.
Now that said, she does have a friend who is on the track team, and that became important for this particular season, for honestly a good bit of her, Chihaya's own character development.
That is true. Chihaya has been very solely focused on Karata through the whole series, but she had more outside Karata character development in season 3 than I think she pretty much ever has in the rest of the series.
Well, yeah, you can definitely tell that this season is sort of a culmination of a lot of things that were, bubbling up in the first 2 seasons. And we're now really starting to see, honestly, things come in full bloom. I think one of the best little mini arcs we had was also for things like Sumire Hanano, who is one of the younger, newer members of the team, who has this, enormous hard-on for Taichi, but also knows that he's not really looking at her at all. But she's there for him. But even she starts getting into that Karata action herself. But, watching her do her things and her sort of, dealing with, her teen crush and how she reacts to that and how she grows from that. was kind of interesting to see.
She's one of the braver characters in the show, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And she takes a lot of initiative as well. Like, she joined the club because she was into Tai Chi, but she kind of stuck around because she either got into karate because she wanted to be closer to Tai Chi, or she just genuinely fell in love for the game, or maybe she didn't want to be shown up by Tsukuba, the fellow first year that joined.
Yeah, she also takes leading new people joining the club at several points in the series, taking the leadership role.
Of course, we've also got Desutomu-kun, our president guy with the glasses, who is...
He's adorable. He's the statistician.
Like, he is the resident nerd guy.
He's the Moneyball part of cards.
Yeah. God bless him for it. There's also Akihiro Tsukuba, who is really... I remember him... Oh, right. He's there with the cute little brothers that look just like mini hymns.
Yeah.
Right. He
They look
exists.
like snakes to me.
Yeah.
Those snake eyes, it's creepy. It's super creepy. And he licks his face all the time. And it's also really creepy.
And there's, you say, Nishida, or as the fan sub, or not the fan subs, the actual subs, call him Porky, or it can also be translated as Meat Bun, because he really likes meat buns. Who was, I had forgotten this. He was actually the first, person Chia played in a quote real match in our very first tournament.
He was one of the first ones that in their group that got to A rank as well.
Yeah.
He was there before Taiichi, I'm pretty sure.
I think so. Well, he's been playing Karta for a while, and so he's really good at being like, okay, we need someone to talk about how they're playing this game. And so he's sort of their ESPN, guy who's giving us the...
He's their hype man, yeah. He's like the shoutcaster, and where, Desutomu is more your Moneyball guy, and he's giving you your stats and stuff, and then Nikuman is definitely your hype man. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, I can't believe it. Oh my god, he's that guy.
He hit it out of the park! Wait, wrong sport, I'm sorry.
He did a barrel roll.
Yeah.
He tried a somersault. It didn't go very well. It's a card game.
And in this season, we also got some of the super high-end folks, last season, we had also got Shinobu, who is the current queen, and her deal, but this was the first time we really got Hisashi Suo, the current master, but also Haruka Inokuma, who was the former queen, which, she was alluded to in the first season, but then she took a break because she had kids, and now she has decided to, just having to be a wonderful mom was not enough. She had to be queen again. So she's back.
She's pretty hardcore, too.
Yeah, I like her inclusion.
I like her too, because in season 2, you meet Shinobu, and then you kind of get a glimpse of Suo, and Shinobu and Suo both share a very similar character trope, and it's kind of explored a lot through the 3rd season, of being very broken people. People that are isolated, people that have social problems, and things like that. Suo, one of the main storylines in season 3 is that Suo is convinced that makes him a better player. That he doesn't have other things to focus on, and that Shinobu will be a better player than Chihaya for a lot of the reason because she is very focused on the card game. But how much spoilers am I allowed to go into here?
You know what? Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we'll get into spoilers for season 3. Alright, folks, we're back, and now, spoilers for all of Chihayafuru, Season 3. Yes. Alright, Jess, you may continue.
So, I like the dynamic of Suo and Suo's storyline. You're meeting a lot of people through this, and you, as the viewer, get to see a lot of different types of people. But the people at the top of this are Suo and Shinobu. And Suo-san is convinced that because they're broken people and because they have nothing else, that they're going to be better at it. His hearing is very, very good, although you find out information about his eyesight later in the series. And Shinobu is completely isolated and has, quote, no friends. And Suo is convinced that Chihaya, because of her situation, will not be as good as Shinobu. And yet Chihaya kind of turns that on its head and becomes an actual real friend to Shinobu that surprises Suo and surprises other people and surprises Shinobu's like mother and things like that through the series. And I thought it was a subtle but interesting development because a lot of the show is very in your face because Chihaya is very in your face, and because she's so dense, a lot of the storylines with her have to be in the end like just somebody just telling her straight to her face what's going on. Whereas the Shinobu storyline was much more subtle. They encountered each other briefly. They encountered each other with a shared interest outside of the game. They played each other in the game. I mean, it's like a little bits here and there, and they don't see each other a lot. But it kind of builds from there, and I appreciated that storyline through season 3.
Yeah, they basically had no interaction, no outside of Karuta interaction in seasons 1 and 2, beyond liking the weird mascots that they like, and Shinobu is at one point very angry that Chihaya took any cards from her. But besides that, we don't really see much. And then in season 3, we get this really developed, quote-unquote developed. It's not really developed, it's kind of developed, I don't know. There's a relative amount of development between their relationship, where Shinobu just kind of sees the first person who is a peer and who is allowed to stand on relatively level ground with her, and also wants to talk in a friendly way. Like everyone else, as we saw in season 1 and 2, was literally pushed away because they were like, oh, you're not gonna make Shinobu better. You're going to make her worse because she's going to pick up these habits of trying to give concessions to an opponent in Karuta because you're not as good, just to make it seem more fun for the opponent. But then now there's Chihaya rolling through, taking one-syllable cards, and Shinobu just gets really angry.
And I did think it was a really interesting moment when Shinobu realizes that one of the big things that Chihaya goes through is her class trip versus going to the preliminaries for King and Queen, where they were unfortunately scheduled for the same time, and she realized that what she really wanted to do was go on her class trip. This is one of her one chance, and she wants to be a teacher because she wants to be a karate coach in high school. She wants to be there for other students. She wants to help raise the next generation while she's still in high school. And
hey, you know who influenced her in that? You know who influenced her to be a great teacher of younger players from the first season of the show? The best character, Dr. Harada. The best character.
I mean, it's true. I mean, I made all tweets about it. What I meant during his big, matches against Suo and stuff. And I'm like, God, I was not expecting this to be the Dr. Harada show, but I am here for it. And he's such a wonderful, bear of a man where he's constantly he's very vocal. He's known for his aggressive karate style, and that clearly he is the alpha male of alpha males whenever he's in the room and doing whatever he wants. And everyone's, God, you're so selfish. Oh my God. Yes, I'll still follow you into this volcano, but damn you.
He's the best. I want to be like Dr. Harada when I grow up.
I don't disagree. But yeah, so she has this moment and she goes on this class trip, and then she discovers that Taichi decided to skip the class trip because he has his own things that he wants to get done in life. But when she finally gets there and Shinobu sees her, she's like, look, I'm sorry. I went on my class trip. I couldn't do it this time. And Shinobu gets pissed. She gets mad because no, Chihaya was supposed to be her rival. This was supposed to be her fight, them two actually doing this. She's fine with the previous queen, cause she's good and she's enjoying that part. But when she realized that Chihaya didn't, she wasn't competing against her, not because she lost, because she didn't get in the tournament at all. Oh, that hurt her a lot. But then when Chihaya, then took her, themed merchandise to turn them into the straps they needed to keep her kimono up, that again completely changed things all around and what actually got Shinobu to win this go around and kept her queenness. That was one of my favorite moments of it, besides, the whole Harada thing. And man, they really, again, the first 2 seasons really reminded me a lot of the high school level based stuff. But I think it's really this season that really brought into the more, it's felt like it grew up from feeling more of a shoujo thing that was in a josei thing to actually being, josei, actually starting to really see a more mature side of things.
Yeah, I think that's what I really liked about this season as well. Not just that it's going into more mature things, like the character of Inokuma completely is this mom who is a former queen and retired from competitive karuta because she wanted to have kids. That's not something that you see very often in anime, where someone with kids comes back to what they were doing when they were younger. But not just that, it's just focusing on Inokuma, Harada, and to a lesser extent Shinobu. We get to see all of these other characters outside of Mizusawa. The first 2 seasons were very focused on Mizusawa winning their regionals and then winning the team nationals. But beyond that, we didn't really get much. But now we get this season where it's very much about people outside of there. And at the beginning, I was kind of well, will I really care about what Haruka is doing? I mean, I like Haruka a lot, but what I really want to see is Chihaya and Taichi and all of them succeeding. And then by the end, it's just I'm screaming from my couch at Haruka being no, you have to win, you have to win. So
I was so excited for him. It was my favorite. That set of 3 episodes is my favorite in the probably in the entire show. I was so excited about it. I liked Dr. Harada before this, but I love Dr. Harada. To give a little context, I guess, for people that are still listening that have not watched this show, Dr. Harada is the guy who runs the local karate society outside of the school. He helped train most of the main characters in this show when they first got started in this. He's been for 30 plus years a teacher of karate. He's a doctor at a local practice, but he is a bombastic personality and he's fantastic. And you thought he was he's always kind of a little aggressive to have matches with people in practice, but it wasn't really until this season that he was a real contender and went all the way to the final match. And I don't think any of us certainly expected that to happen going into this season. But he's just incredibly compelling, and man, what a highlight from this season.
Yeah, the way they set it up and the way they frame the series, it's of course it's going to be Arata versus Suo in this final match. But no, Haruka plays a very, very strategic game, very Moneyball / Komano game, and ends up eking past Arata.
And then making use of Chihaya and Taichi to be virtual opponents of what he needs to face, so he has a better chance to. And I guess for me, it's one of those things where I think, again, this is sort of the joseification of this show, where we're now also not only are we seeing more of the adults at play, literally, but also our high school kids are not going to be high school kids much longer. And I don't know how deep into the manga this show has currently gone. But again, there's 43 volumes of this. So even if we're only halfway through, that means there's at least, another big chunk of them probably going through college and maybe even into adulthood, playing this game of karate for the storyline that we're watching. So I think he's a great steward to sort of bring us into the adult level of play, literally.
To answer the first question, I believe the first 2 seasons went about 17 volumes. So if we assume that approximately the same rate, this is going to be 24 or 25 volumes into that.
There's so much more to go.
Yeah.
Which is...
I definitely got for Christmas a copy of the live action movie, which I have not watched yet. It is on DVD sitting on my counter that I'm looking at right now, but I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I am definitely now into buying the manga for this, because I kind of have to know, because even if we never get another season, I really hope, because especially since the manga is done, it is 43 volumes of it's now completed work, so they could theoretically, they know the end point. We don't have to get bonesed about this. They don't have to make up an ending or anything. They can actually just keep making seasons until they get to the ending, which they should. For the love of God, please do that. But if not, at least I know that Kodansha is very bullish on getting this manga out in English, so I'm just going to start buying volumes, and I'll see how it goes.
They really need to give me some physical comics. I'm just saying, I'm very excited. I'll promote the crap out of this manga for them.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to book Kodansha guests for your con, and
Hey, I'd love to. I love Chihaya more than I can ever tell you.
Well-
Not related to Kodansha, but I actually did this year start subscribing to the Shonen Jump app, and I read manga on it regularly. And I'm caught up on Demon Slayer and Dr. Stone and Promised Neverland, which is really good right now.
yeah. All right, so any other Chihayafuru 3 thoughts before we move on to questions?
I will say I do really like Chihaya's, the entire arc that Chihaya goes through in this season. As I said, the first 2 seasons is very much about the competitive Karuta part, but in this season we get that view, as you both said earlier about what she wants to do after Karuta, and that could become a teacher inspired by Harada, inspired by I forget her name, but the current club advisor, and like seeing the emotions that she's going through, being like, well, I want to be queen, but I have to think about my own future, about what experiences and knowledge I need to have to become a teacher, to become a Karuta teacher. And one of those that she feels like she needs to have is going on next school trip, and like as she is crying into her kimono, that's just like crying from my face, and there's a lot of crying in Chihayafuru.
And I'm not crying. You're crying. God, and I guess also, yeah, that the other school, the teacher lady who actually has like a straight up for real Karuta like team at their high school, and her training and her being, the former queen was her like rival, and that whole relationship there, showing that man, and her honestly growing a little bit, realizing that, oh wait, we're still friends, even though she's my rival. We can still be friends. We can still do stuff. Like, she's willing to come help train her student, the former queen's willing to help train their students. And it's like, man, I don't hate anybody in this show. I hate Suo a little bit.
Oh no, Suo's just he's complicated, okay? He's complicated with his grandma and his backstory and his progressing disability. I mean, he's complicated.
Well, that's why I just said just a little bit. Like, because he's also like this, almost like unreachable heights that no one has yet to be able to topple. And good job for Arata to get him to stay in for one more year, so we can get that beat down in the game that we so need. But also, man, that last episode of Arata like finally getting his own little club team, but also I guess we've also left the fact on the ground that both Arata and Taichi both actually confessed to Chihaya.
I know. It was a really stressful couple of episodes, okay?
Like, and literally her not understanding how to take it from either one of them. And with Arata, like, just he's like, just laid it out there, like, look, I like you. Let's play Karuta together forever. But just tell me whenever you're ready. I'm good. I'm going to go over here now and play some more Karuta. Okay, bye.
I gotta know, because we're in this together in this podcast. Are you Team Taichi? Are you Team Arata?
I was gonna wait for you, but I'm Team Taichi.
Team Taichi? Okay, we're gonna fight. I'm Team Arata.
I don't know. Like, it's because they've also done this job of, that whichever one she doesn't go for, like, they're gonna be fine. Like, because I feel really bad for Arata's, like, childhood friend, where she's constantly making food that makes him sick.
Yes, she is.
And then we also have, Hanano. And I'm like, I'm like, especially when she stood up to his mom, to Taichi's mom, I'm like, man, you're too good for Taichi, just to be honest.
Yeah, she is. She absolutely is. She needs someone much better. I will agree with that. Not that I dislike Taiichi. I love Taiichi, but yeah, no, she's too good for him, man.
I also love Taiiku, but he has a lot of flaws. Like, a lot of flaws. Like, he stole glasses in 6th grade so he would win a tournament and got flaws.
Yeah. Like, so I don't, like, much like Chihaya, right now, I can't choose. Although admittedly, my brain first heard is Arata Harada, and I'm like, Jess, I don't know about that.
That is an unhealthy ship. Let's not. No.
All right. Let's sail on past that with questions from listeners like you. I constantly spam Twitter for questions. I also make use of the Third Impact Anime's Discord. They're a really, really fun group of kids. I really enjoy talking with them online. If y'all need a cool place to talk about anime or manga, or if your Ed Chavez mangoes, if you need a good Discord, I like Third Impact Animes a lot. But our first question comes from this guy named Charlie at the Sommelier, and his first question is, what's everyone's favorite poem? Mine is, roses are red and violets are blue. Charlie, go find your damn headset. Goddamn you. For context, Corey, Charlie's one of the OSMcast members that lives in Tennessee. And now that we're doing this whole online recording thing, I need him to find his headset so I can have him talk about things. And he keeps not getting his headset.
Get your headset, Charlie.
It'd be lame, Charlie.
Right? So now every podcast he just gets grief. Now, does he actually listen to these episodes? I'm not sure. Probably not. He should be. But just like he should be finding his headset.
Hey, I've done a podcast with him about poop. So, I mean, he's got multifaceted interests.
It's true. All right, anyways. So what are y'all's favorite poems?
So I took this to mean actually one of the Hyakunin Ishi, or Ishu, so I chose one that I liked the best. Poem number 39. This isn't like my favorite poem, but it was my favorite one from 100 poem. And I'll just read the translation, because nobody needs to hear me speak more Japanese. My feelings remain concealed, bamboo grass in a field of reeds. Yet why should it be so strong, this love of mine for another? I just liked it. I thought it was nice.
As I mentioned earlier, I have not read the poems, but I want to read the poems. I was going to make a Walt Whitman joke, but I didn't find the poem fast enough, so here we are.
Well, his follow-up question was, what's everyone's favorite proverb?
So I don't know what really counts as a proverb, but I guess if this counts, my favorite is fortune favors the bold, but abandons the timid.
A card a day keeps the doctor away.
I've always been a fan of Be Kind, Please Rewind, but that was a different era. And not really valid anymore. Although who knows, VHS will come back.
I go back to the start of my movies every time I rent them on wherever.
All right, so from Austin at Bebop Shock, what are the odds that this episode gets titled Chihayafuru? No, in this podcast, we don't have funny titles. We're funny in the episodes, but not in the titles. Our titles are serious.
They're not in haikus?
No, only my panel descriptions, and only for Momocon.
I think this would be called Chihaya3U, not Chihaya4U. I mean, it says Chihayafuru 3.
That's true. That's true.
3 fast, 3 Karata.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, for clarification for you, Corey, one year I was submitting panels for Momocon, and due to how their app is handled, they can only have so many characters in the description, and I didn't realize it when I was typing it out, and I'm like, what? This is a good. No. So in anger, I rewrote all of them as haikus.
Nice.
Our programming director did not appreciate that, but she knows what Basil's panels are now.
And now, but because I did it once, I now have to do it every year, because I remember the programming, she didn't know me then, but a lot of other folks did, and they thought it was hilarious, which didn't help her at all. But now it's expected out of me.
Well, you started this as your brand, and now you just have to keep going.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I really am. Okay, so from Tobias at Reverend_Tobias, how many chili dogs would Chihaya eat?
All right, so I have some data on this one.
Go for it.
I follow international competitive eating, and well, I did. I should say I haven't followed it in a couple of years, but I used to follow it pretty heavily. Chihaya probably could not get up to the level of Joey Chestnut, who holds the world record since 2018 for 74 in 10 minutes. However, she would definitely be gunning for Sonia Thomas's female title of 41 in 10 minutes. Hot dogs and buns. Sonia Thomas is actually my favorite competitive eater, and she's very, very, very competitive about it. So I think she would be a good foil for Chihaya if Chihaya were into competitive eating instead of karate. Sonia Thomas, she works at a Burger King, and she eats there every day. She eats one meal with like 3 Whoppers and 2 fries and like all of her calories because it's not spread over the day. It helps expand her stomach, and she's got like the strategy down pat. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Chihaya's gonna be at 40 hot dogs and buns, but she's really gunning to take Sonya's title.
I appreciate this response. I watched a trailer for competitive eating where like Joey Chestnut was training by holding a weight from his mouth, like hung from a string from his mouth, and like biting and moving his head up and down, and it just seems way intense, like way more intense than I would just imagine. But like, of course, this is also a sport, so you have to do some sort of training for this sport.
It's amazing what they do to their bodies. I've watched a lot of like documentary style stuff on it, and competitive eaters have incredibly different digestive systems than a normal person. Like in the amount of time it takes to digest things, how much capacity they have. Like an interview with Sonia Thomas several years ago, she talked about Kobayashi. Sonia Thomas estimated at one time that her stomach capacity was probably around 20 pounds, but like Kobayashi's was probably around 25 pounds at one time, not stretched out too much. So it's just amazing how it changes people's bodies.
Man, this is going to come back to actually a later question. But the first one, actually I'm going to go with that question right now. What other unusual game would you like to see as a sports anime? And now I really want competitive eating.
Oh, that'd be super gross, man. I'm not gonna lie. It'd be pretty gross. I love cooking anime. Speaking of, Food Wars Season 5 is already airing now.
That's a sports anime for as an aside, but also, I want to see Food Wars, but as like a competitive eating anime, not like what actual competitive eating anime would probably be.
Yeah, I want to see hobby horsing, like jumping around on the hobby horse, because that's a real competition in some places.
Like my actual original answer was going to be competitive tape trading, thinking back to old fan sub days, and our friends Drew and Mark from Seishun Con. They actually had done a tape trading like rally race as an event for their con, and I would love to see like something really just dig into the old like 80s and 90s subculture of that, and it really be about that, but in the context of tape trading and somehow doing it competitively. I think would be really fun to watch.
This isn't as much of an unusual sport, but I would like to see a curling anime, like after the 2018 Olympics when the South Korean woman got 3rd place or 4th place. Now I just like really want to see a curling anime. And this is even less unusual of an anime or of a sport, but I want to see a hockey anime, and I don't think a hockey anime has ever been made.
I don't think so.
I know there's been various hockey mangas, but I don't think it ever has gotten turned into an anime. So yeah. I'd be absolutely down for that.
Ooh, apparently there is one called Sket Dance.
Wait, Sket Dance is about hockey?
That's what it says on Google.
Oh my gosh, Google.
Yeah.
What are you doing to us? Then Tobias' third question was, so when are you starting the American Karate League? Ha 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 ha. No, I'm terrible at memorizing things.
I'm leaving that up to Ink.
I'm down. Ink, you were on this podcast, which is totally cool. I am very, very on Jared's side on this, but you can also start the American Karate League. Go for it.
See, I don't know enough Japanese for that.
No, I think you would have to do translations of the poems, and I think you would just lose something.
Yeah.
Well, as I say, it's very lyrical the way they say it. The way the readers say it.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe you can just be like Nikomon and not actually memorize any of the poems, but memorize the first parts of each poem, or the first parts that you need to know of all the poems, so you can play the game, but you don't actually know any of the meanings.
Yeah, but as Oe points out, you're missing half of the depth of the game.
And even Dr. Harda mentions that, isn't it fun to have all 100 poems as your friends?
Shinobu appreciates that too, because she had no other friends.
You need
true.
friends when you can crush your opponents into dust.
See, now I'm thinking about that Netflix only original competitive eating anime, because that way you could get as gross as you absolutely wanted to. Let's get Science Saru on this, so that way, while it's super gross, it's still amazing to look at, so you don't mind so much.
Oh yeah, maybe it can just be like Devilman, but competitive eating.
Did you see where Masaki Yuasa, man, I'm gonna butcher that name, left Science Saru recently?
Yeah, I know he's retired, which I get. He's made like a bazillion things in like 4 years.
I know, they're all so good.
Well, they are, but I mean, he still has at least one more show.
Japan Sings.
And then I think there's another movie he actually also directed already. So even though he's left, he still has like stuff already happening in the works.
Yeah.
So, and who knows, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name. He was one of the co-founders of Madhouse. He founded MAPPA.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
The guy who's like Otakon all the time.
Right.
Masao Maruyama.
Yeah. He's also left MAPPA to form yet a third company.
Oh my god, he's left MAPPA? Studio M2. Oh my god.
Maybe that could just be what Yuasa's doing. Like, he's just going to show up with like yet a third company, doing stuff. And it turns out it's still being more or less Science Saru anyways. Much like how MAPPA is really just Madhouse 2.0.
Oh my god, Studio M2 is going to be doing a new version of Tezuka's Pluto. Based on Astro Boy, and it's like a spin-off of Astro Boy.
Oh yeah, Pluto is awesome. It is it's Urasawa taking Astro Boy, but it's like a gritty crime story. It is great.
Yeah, that's fast. Apparently Studio M2, which is Masao's new studio, is doing that. So
even though Yuasa has quote unquote retired, I don't think this is a retirement as say like Miyazaki always says he's retiring. I really think Yuasa's just like, look, I did a lot of stuff really quickly. I think I may need a break, and
fair.
He deserves it. And so for our last question, completely misreading the room, your friend and mine, John Wright at Roku13 asks, who's the best party member besides Cloud in the Final Fantasy VII Remake? I guess he didn't see the whole Chihayafuru 3-part.
Or he did.
And still asked a question about what he wants in life. Which I get. I'm in the middle of playing the 7 Remake. I'm also in the middle of playing 7 again on my Switch for future podcast endeavors. I will say that, man, both Aerith and Tifa and Jessie, they're all best girls. And, man, so I'm going to go with Barrett.
Okay, that's fair. I like Tifa, although I'm, full disclosure, I actively dislike Final Fantasy VII. I mean, I guess as a game it's not bad, but it's probably one of the most overhyped properties in the history of existence. So. I'm saving this for a later podcast, but I will say I'm currently in the act of replaying 7. And you can ask my podcast buddy Doug that I have been very much an avowed, I don't want to call myself a 7 hater, but it doesn't rank in my top 5. And replaying 7, I'm getting a better appreciation for what it was when it was. B, I really, really, really want a better translation for native 7 because Sony did not do a great job with it. But the way I can see the graphics, and man, they have not aged well. I'm even including the backgrounds and stuff. Just having things on high def screens and watching these little postage stamps blown up is not doing that game any favors. But just knowing what 6 and Cruncher things were and what they were doing with 7, it is very much a leap of presentation that I really, really wish they would have saved better for today. But the remake is very pretty, and the gameplay is, in fact, pretty fun.
especially when you play on easy like I am, because I'm a scrub at action games.
Hey, no judgment. You play how you want to play.
All right. So how many awesomes out of awesome are we going to give this season of wonderful card action show?
You go first, Basil.
Oh, okay, sure. I'm going to give it one super amazing Dr. Harada match out of awesome.
That's a high bar.
How much I like this show.
I think I will give it all 100 Karuta cards, including all of the dead cards of awesome.
I will give this 3 inks and 3 basils. I'm awesome.
Nice. I'm glad Ink's still getting his representation, even though he couldn't make it tonight. Thank you very much, Corey, for coming in with and talking with us about this show.
Thank you for having me.
And once again, thank you, Jess, once again.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love to talk about Chihaya.
Yeah, I really twisted your arm on this one. So yeah, that is us. This has been the podcast for everything awesome. It's edited by my wonderful wife, Anna. Our theme song was done by DJ Inabito. You can find him on djinabito.com. He now actually does a lot of Twitch streaming. He does a lot of retro games, so you can check him out, I believe, at Twitch/Inabito. You can find me, the OSMcast on Twitter, OSMcast. You can find me on Twitter at It's Basil Time. You can find Corey on Twitter at...
Oh, do I say exact and passionate K? It's a Chihayafuru reference.
It is. And you can find Jess as Momocon at Momocon. Did I get that right?
You did.
Cool. And like was mentioned earlier, Momocon's going to have a lot of awesome stuff going on Twitch for the next few weeks, as well as even crazier things down the line. Also, I believe the Momocon shop is up for the people who can buy stuff.
That is correct. Momocon.com/shop. If you want to buy some of our fancy new dice, which are really, really cool and actually flying off the shelves right now.
I need to put my order in. I'm not going to lie. They looked really, really cool. And I saw that and I went, I wish I had a con right now that I can make merch for, because that was a great idea. But then again, maybe I don't want to have a con right now. Anyways, this has been an awesome cast. Thank you all very much for being with me talking about Chihayafuru, and thanks everyone for listening. And until next time, we are out. ダメみたいだ君の声が鳴り止まなくて困った目をつぶってもそこにまその苦く味わいのないこの距離に僕は今日も君に何もしないのそれは恋のアイデアで思いとかやるよきっと
I didn't even tell the story I was going to tell too. So I started seeing a personal trainer like 8 months ago, and I'm obviously not seeing him right now because of COVID stuff, but he is totally like my Dr. Harada because he's super supportive and he's like totally jazzed about fitness stuff, and like he's super realistic about it too. Like he's not, I know a lot of fitness people and they always sound like they're blowing smoke up your ass, you know, and he never sounds like that. And I miss him so much. Like, you don't even know. I text him, like, I'm now texting him once a week just to make sure he's doing all right. Because I love Ned. And Ned, he's a steady fixture in my life now, and I want to make sure Ned's okay. He's kind of older, too. Like, he's in his 60s.
Okay.
But he's, like, really hardcore. I'm on a heavy strength training routine, so, yeah.